Hi, and welcome to our fall webinar. I'm here today with some very special friends and guests for the webinar today. I've got Jeff Stay and Jamie Levenshon, and then our great friend Brian Benson on the call with us too. I'm going to go into share screen now so you can see the web presentation. It helps if I have the web presentation out. There we go. And this is the Business Voices Fall webinar. And of course, Business Voices is a BNI Foundation initiative. And it's coming from two places. It's coming from our inspiration by Richard Branson, who you see here in this still shot of a video that Ivan shot with him. And he really kind of inspired us with this concept that if we could get every single business person in the world, that it's the entrepreneurs that don't know how to be told no when there's problems and things, challenges, and they need to step in somehow, that we as entrepreneurs can play our part and as the B team, as it would sound like the B team, the business team, and we can get on top of some of the world's problems, most of the world's problems, he feels. And with us, of course, it's children and education. And my vision coming from just, although we may be just out here on our own, and maybe I'm just one person, what can I do to inspire others to invest in children and education specifically, or other philanthropic or charitable causes? And of course, we have my good friend Jeff Stay on the call, and Jeff is an illustrious executive director in BNI Miami-Dade, and he's been with us for how many years now, Jeff?
It'll be 18 years, Beth, as of October 21st.
18 years he's been with BNI. That's fantastic. So, Jeff, you're going to talk with us a little bit today about some of the ways you've seen 100 Women Who Care and some of the initiatives that they're doing, partnering with our focus of children and education in your region. And I've got the slide up showing the network nights that I'm going to be visiting you next week, and I hear there's some fun things in store for me.
There we have, as you know, Beth, we do like to do events here in South Florida and Miami in particular, and we've got no shortage of people who would love to sit around a table with you, join you at an event, and hear more about what Business Voices and the Foundation are doing. So I'm very pleased with what we've put together. We're partnering with South Florida Luxury Guide for the third year in a row. It's called Battle of the Chefs. It's a very well-attended event. It's always sold out, where we celebrate around some great food. We celebrate around some great spirits, and there's a lot of great buzz going on. And at the same time, we'll have the chance now to weave in what we're doing with the Throw My Ride campaign. So we're very excited.
Good. Well, I want to hear more about that after we've heard from Jamie, and that brings me now to introduce Jamie Levenshon. And Jamie is a new friend of mine and to the BNI Foundation. She is a dynamic and bubbly, and I'm learning that everywhere Jamie goes, amazing things are happening with her energy and her charisma. She is working with clients that are large-scale multi-property portfolios in real estate. It consists of retail, commercial, and residential real estate properties, and she has an extensive network in South Florida, not just in business, Jamie, but I think your network extends into multiple areas, and we'd love to welcome you on the webinar to share with us about what you're doing with 100 Women Who Care, what collective giving is, and how can we kind of tap into this in the BNI Foundation. Welcome to our call.
Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you, Jeff and Brian. I'm so excited about this. First of all, it's my first Zoom call, which is awesome. I actually just got back from a two-day conference, ICSC, which is a real estate convention. And being in the for-profit business on the insurance side, it's interesting because since I've been directing the 100 Women Who Care in Miami-Dade on the nonprofit side, walking down the halls of a convention with a lot of for-profit business owners, believe it or not, they want to know what you're doing, especially what you're doing in the community. So it was really the first time I've ever hung out with 5,000 of my closest real estate friends, and felt like I had so much more to talk about than just what I do for a living. And those conversations, you're just not selling anymore. You're really just telling people who you are and people just want to be around you when you're doing good things in the community. So 100 Women Who Care, we were founded in 2012 by Melody Spano, who's a veteran in the real estate business. And we went from our Palm Beach chapter to Jupiter to Cuesta. Then I opened up Miami-Dade with a couple other really dynamic women. And we just launched our Broward County chapter. So we are 4 chapters in South Florida, caring over 400 women. And we give back to local nonprofits in the community. And we allow our members and women to get involved, especially entrepreneurial women, to come together 4 times a year to really listen on what's going on in the community and to hear about these local grassrooted organizations that really don't have big marketing dollars or galas for you to hear about them, but they are filling really important gaps in the community. And I think that that's what's different about 100 Women Who Care. In all of our chapters, we have 350 chapters all over the nation. And I think that that's what we're doing is we're really spotlighting, not so much as ourselves as an organization, but all of the organizations that we incubate. And Jeff, when we met, BNI, I've been a fan of BNI for a very long time. And when Jeff and I met, it was an immediate, like, I love what you're doing and let me promote you. And I said, okay. And the next day, he had tagged every single BNI chapter on a Facebook. It was a Facebook message. And he tagged like 150 people. I don't even know how you have the time being so busy. And now, since you're one of my best friends, I know how busy you actually are. But for someone to be able to just really say, I love what you're doing and I want to support you, it was something that I think we need more of in not just our community in Miami, but all around, with the for-profit businesses and the nonprofit businesses really working hand in hand. So I actually had honored Jeff at one of our meetings. He couldn't come, but Jesse Stolo did. And he was the only man. There was a lot of estrogen in the room. But
he told me that was a very interesting experience.
I'm like, okay, now you got to go. But what was great about that moment was really for people in our audience, which I would say probably 30% of our membership are BNI members. So that is truly, a reflection of what BNI stands for and what you're able to really help promote the entrepreneur's growth as having a giving component. So I wish that I could have Jeff at all of our meetings, but I can't.
Well, that's why we have the Beanbag collaboration.
That's why we have the Beanbag collaboration.
Jamie, I'm very proud of what you've done, and I thank you very much for embracing so many people in our organization and also who surround our organization, and by introducing me to Bill Burdett at the Center for Social Change, introducing me to Mary Wong via various events, and just sharing your network so openly really put me into a place where I had absolutely no doubt that you and Beth would synergize in the way you think. We got Beth, as you know, I think, to visit or consider visiting 100 Women Who Care in her area. And it's a group of women that are so positive that we're looking now, I think, as an organization for organizations like 100 Women Who Care, where we can align ourselves for the foundation and the Business Voices movement. Beth, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was going to ask you, Jeff, how you've seen 100 Women Who Care investing in schools and education. I think one of the projects that, well, let's back up. Jamie, how does it work, first of all?
Let's talk about how it works.
Yeah, I'm so curious about that.
So we meet 4 times a year. They're quarterly meetings. They're really a lot of fun. What we do is it's basically an hour. So to kind of scale back to the whole mission that gives me goosebumps about this organization is our founder, Karen Dunigan out of Michigan, was in hospital fundraising. And she saw a need for women who were coming into the emergency room and having babies and were needy and did not have cribs. So she had asked the hospital if she could start an initiative that would help aid to where women could go home with their new baby and have a portable crib. So when the hospital had denied those funds, she being in hospital fundraising, she said, you know what, I'm going to call my friends, and I'm going to tell my friends to call their friends who call their friends.
Yep.
I'm going to set a meeting point, tell everyone to bring a check for $100. Let's buy some baby cribs. And when they all met, they raised $12,800 in 1 hour and supplied 300 baby cribs. So the real mission, and that's how we got started with 100 women, 100 people, 100 kids, 100 men who care all over, is just the power of the hour of people coming together at our meetings. Our members bring us local nonprofits. So what's great about it is that you can really make the platform your own. So for instance, Beth, you as a member of 100 Women Who Care, you pay $400 a year. 100% of that money goes directly to the nonprofits, which is great. There's no administrative costs. And then you can bring a local nonprofit and submit it to the caring pot. And then at the actual meeting live, we select 3 out of the hat. And the 3 get to actually come up and do a 5-minute commercial, which is kind of like a BNI commercial, which you all know with BNI how powerful that time is to stand up and talk about what it is you do. And then it's very democratic. We vote at the end of the meeting. Whoever gets the most votes gets the grant. So it's truly something that is really powerful, because in an hour you get to hear about 3 organizations, you get to vote on one, and you get to leave that meeting knowing where your money went. And that's the biggest thing. Is I started off as a young entrepreneur going to a lot of these different networking for a cause events, and I would go in, I'd pay $100 or $30, I would get a drink, I would meet some people, get a couple business cards, but I didn't know if I was curing cancer. I didn't know if I was, helping autism. So this is a more of a direct focus on really understanding what's needed in our community. And I think that that's what's really special about it.
Yeah, that's what attracted me to the whole concept. So Jeff, have we, as BNI, have we been referring schools to, have there been any connections made in Miami-Dade?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say that one of the things that when we started this process, we were learning how to properly submit people for those types of things. And so one of the organizations that Jamie was very proud of is called LEAP. And I didn't know what it was, but it's not really kids in education, but it kind of relates in the sense that, it's women that are coming out of the penal system, and they're sponsoring their entrepreneurial projects to give them some seed capital to help them, grow their business. So now that we understand really more clearly what the parameters around their submissions and giving is, we've identified 3 or 4 organizations that we would like to suggest get involved in sort of the pitch, if you want to call it that. And I think your next meeting, Jamie, is it sometime?
October 25th.
Right, October 25th. So we've kind of surveyed the landscape of our community to say, hey, are there organizations that either support kids in education, or are there schools that are not for profit or nonprofit that can be considered in this? And I may have mentioned to you, Beth, we also are looking to the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation for some guidance, because as you know, my wife teaches at a charter school in a very economically and sociographically diverse area. And the majority of the kids that attend her school are kids that you would probably put into a income demographic that would be very much in need. Yeah. And so, so as you know, as part of what we're doing with our event next week, Tuesday, rather than collecting for children, we're collecting for the teachers. We've chosen Matter Beach Academy and one of their sister schools. And our goal is to try to help alleviate the burden on these teachers from having to spend their personal income, which is on average about $40,000 a year. They spend anywhere from $500 to $1,000 of their own money providing supplies to actually help the kids.
Well, and actually, if I can jump in. So one thing that's so great about 100 Women Who Care is that we've attracted a lot of other larger foundations, just like, BNI, but Office Depot Foundation, Mary Wong, who's one of my mentors and really has taught me how to truly give and make an impact. And like, she always tells me, just ask, just go, just do. And so with the Fill My Ride, an example of what 100 Women Who Care did last week was, with the Louisiana flooding. I sent out an email to our database of over 1,000 women who are either friends of 100 Women Who Care or members of 100 Women Who Care. And I sent an email and I said, these are the organizations in Louisiana that need help. These are the lists of supplies that they need. And these are the addresses where you can go onto Amazon and you could ship directly to these causes. I had such an overwhelming amount of our members and our caring ladies, truly, thought leaders in Miami. And they all came back to me and they said, thank you so much for sharing that. Because sometimes I just don't know how to give. Mm-hmm. And I think that, one thing that's very special is, to realize and to look at your community. An example of which, like, for instance, Dreamwater, which is based here in Miami, they're a great company. And they're all over. It's those shots that help you go to sleep, which thank God that I have them, because now I sleep at night.
It's all the coffee you drink, maybe.
I know, I'll send you guys some. But what's so great about that is when you seek out these larger companies that really have, a need to have a giving component. Yes. For instance, their slogan is powered by sleep. And then now getting them involved with a lot of the charitable things that we're doing, their new hashtag is, powered by caring. So sometimes it's reaching out to a lot of these bigger organizations that have a caring component and saying, how can you help me, or how can I help you? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the time these larger organizations, for-profit businesses, they need to have an outlet, and it's our job to really teach them how. So with Fill My Ride, actually I just got an email from the First Lady, Mrs. Stay, with giving me her list of what she needs, so that way I can now communicate to our database of women saying, these are the items that are needed. And at the Battle of the Chefs event, ladies, please bring some of these school supplies. So sometimes it's just a simple ask. And then on October 25th, we'll get, some great education. As far as our women go, they really, I can just tell you from the organizations that we've already seen grants go towards, LEAP, which Jeff mentioned, which is an entrepreneurial program for women who are incarcerated. They collaborate with Barry University. Barry University helps them draft these business plans. Also, Casa Valentina, which we had issued a grant for. These are young adults aging out of the foster care system who are now, having to be adults and going to college and getting jobs. And the Office Depot Foundation and myself, we did a workshop, a readiness for living, independent living workshop, where we gave them content and mentorship and taught them the difference between a 1099 and a W-2 and how to use TurboTax. So these are things that, we want to see the need. And I think that Fill My Ride, and even just having conversations with Jenny Stay about her struggles as a teacher, I had no idea. So I think that when we become a little bit more vulnerable, open up and really listen to what is really happening in our community, is when we can really just pull together and just ask people to bring school supplies. How easy is that? Right? Is it?
So are there 100 Women Who Care all over the United States? So for BNI members that watch the webinar, they say, wow, this idea of collective giving, of being able to come with $100 and multiply that by 100 women to have an organization receive such a great blessing. So they exist all around the U.S.?
You can go to 100alliance.org. And you can see a list of all of our chapters. I can share the link too. But what's great about it is that your $100 for our women, the feedback that I've gotten is when they see us at Office Depot headquarters with 30 kids from a foster care program that really needed help with independent living, and these women see that, they realize my $100 and my vote created this. And that's really powerful. It's really powerful. So they all went home with executive suitcases to know that they never need to use a garbage bag any longer for their clothes. Very special.
Brian, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Jamie, when I did do a search for that, I found something called 100whocarealliance.org.
Yes, I'm sorry, 100whocarealliance.org.
Okay, I'm about to post that on our page.
Great.
Fantastic.
So you can go there and you can check out the different chapters. There's a lot of, actually, I think it was Forbes magazine called, I think it was one of the chapters in the Midwest, saying it's the best girls' night out.
Oh, I love that. So for our BNI ladies, if they want to invest in a local education project, a nonprofit educational organization that has a need for funding, they, as a member of 100 Women Who Care, they could become a member, join,
And submit.
they would nominate that charity at one of their meetings?
Yeah.
What happens if their charity doesn't get accepted? Can they be nominated again the next?
Yes, you have a year.
Okay, so then next year.
And then if you don't get picked, you could just submit again, that's the best thing about it, is that a lot of these nonprofits, Beth, and I'm sure you know, the grant process, a lot of the time when I talk to them, you know, what's been great is that we probably have, I would say now, 15 members who are actually executive directors of the nonprofit.
Oh.
And they become members, and then they become members and submit themselves, because they see $400 as a donation. $400 is also a lot of money for a lot of these local nonprofits, but they see it as a marketing opportunity. And the grant process isn't it's not that extensive. So a lot of the time you see these nonprofits and they're filling out applications for grants, and they're very labor intensive. And then a lot of the time they don't get the approval for the grant. So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of these nonprofits, they have to be so careful with their time, because they're day by day. Yeah. And if you look overall in the United States, a lot of these smaller nonprofits, a very large percentage of them go bankrupt. So we're really trying to hear what their needs are and give them a platform where they can get enough exposure, and connecting them to donor bases, which are women.
So that'd be another great referral if you're a BNI member in an area that has a 100 Women Who Care or 100 Men or Kids Who Care chapter, to refer the charity to actually become part of the chapter.
Yeah. And I'm actually right now, I was just talking to Jeff about it before this call. So what's great about what we're doing in Miami-Dade is we are only asking our sponsors. We just need to cover our costs for the event, which is not that expensive. But what we really do is it's almost like a shopping spree. We have, our creator of the 100 Women Who Care t-shirt, which, Beth, this will be on its way to you. Or actually, I'll see you next week and I'll give it to you.
Put it on me.
This is our official t-shirt.
Oh, I love that.
It's one woman can make a difference, but together we can rock the world. And we always want our sponsors to be local businesses that really need that type of exposure. And some of the larger law firms have approached me and they were like, we'd love to sponsor, let us know how much it costs. And I said, I don't want you to sponsor, and I don't want that money for that. But I want you to do Greenberg Torrig or some of the large law firms. Who are the nonprofits that you work with right now, and can you sponsor their membership for them?
Yes.
So they can get involved, because that's more powerful.
Right.
Yes. That's what we're doing. And soon we're in conversation. We're not announcing anything yet, Mr. Stay, but we have
That was my cue not to say anything.
To not say anything. We had a Men Who Care event on July 11th, which was really great. I wanted to have the event, which was inspired by Jeff, because when I had honored him at one of our meetings filled with women, I realized there's so many men in the nonprofit industry or CEOs of companies that really have helped us, either by sponsoring memberships, telling their sisters, colleagues, mothers to join us. So I really wanted to highlight those men. Jeff was one of them. And we did a Men Who Care event. And I had awarded or honored about 11 different men in the community who are just truly thought leaders and who really want to get involved. So we identified a couple guys, Jeff Stay and David Leketch from Dreamwater, and Jerry Katz with Premier Insurance Protection Services, and Brian Carter, who's a BNI member. And we're all going to be meeting next month to just talk about what a men chapter would look like in Miami. And I would be really excited to do it. I think that they are too. And I want to do a dance. I want to do like a men and women like who care dance. A prom.
As you'll come to know, Beth, Jamie, if you tie dancing to anything philanthropic, Jamie is in.
Yes.
I am. Or karaoke. Karaoke cares.
Very, very cool. I think, Brian, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Hey Beth, this is Ivan. I just got online.
Number popping up on the screen. Welcome to the webinar. We're recording for playback. We have Jamie, Jeff, Brian, me, and now you on the call. And it's good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're coming home.
I'm glad to be coming home. I'm at an airport, so I'll mute myself out when I'm not talking.
Did you want to make your comments now, Ivan? We're probably at a good spot where you can talk about what inspired you to partner with all of the BNI members to create Business Voices and have this buzz going.
Well, yeah, so I really think that business has a voice in communities. Business can be noble and do things much quicker than certainly than government can do, and we have resources that nonprofits don't have. I think what started me on this journey was that interview that I did with Branson on Necker Island that Beth, you were at, and he was talking about the B team and how business can make a difference in communities. And then, of course, when you had your experience and started talking about Business Voices, it was just a natural segue for us in BNI, because our local BNI chapters, when you have an organization with the philosophy of giver's gain, they're going to do community projects whether you tell them to do or not. And so this was an opportunity to kind of tie in that activity and that involvement into the BNI, under the BNI umbrella, so that rather than having everyone just do all their own projects, that it's all part of the BNI Foundation. And so it was like the moon and the stars kind of came into alignment with the Business Voices project. And so I'm really excited about it. And Beth, you've led some just amazing things that have happened over the last year or so. So that's it. That's my 2 cents.
Well, Jamie has an affirmation card. Do you want to show everybody that affirmation card that ties in with what you just ended with, Ivan?
So these affirmation cards are Mary Wong's creation, and every day it says what you stand for. And this affirmation card is I stand for giving. And when you turn it around, there's a mirror.
How cute.
So you can look at yourself and it says be a difference maker. So that is something that we stand for, giving.
Yeah.
And it's great to be aligned with you all.
Well, we really value what you're doing. The great benefit to everybody involved. Brian, you had a question.
I had a question, Jamie, about the 100 teens that are giving or 100 kids that are giving. How does that organization work? Do these kids also have to bring $100 to each meeting, or is it more of a giving?
No, I have not. Every other year, the 100 Who Care Alliance has like a convention. So Miami-Dade is a newer chapter. I haven't gone yet, but next year will be our convention, so I can learn a little bit more about the kids. But I can tell you that I have a 6-year-old who cares, and she's ready to start one up.
I was thinking, Beth, connecting this with GATE.
Right.
Kids are heroes. Because they have the kids with the charities that can go and pitch and get the funding.
Yeah.
I think that it's a great way to make it your own. And what's also great about it is that it's really easy to start a chapter. As long as you know, with Miami-Dade, and even with Broward, like Melody, and actually Melody and Beth, we all had a brainstorming call a couple months ago. So it's so nice to see now things coming to fruition of partnering with you all. But it's really easy to start a chapter. So what's great about it is that it's 4 weeks a year, it's $100 a meeting, and there's guidelines on how to do it. So that's really been what our growth, I think, 4 chapters already in the past 3 years just in South Florida. So I will absolutely get some more information from our counterparts and with the kids movement, because I think that would be very interesting. And a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, have you thought of doing a young professionals where instead of $100, maybe it's $50? Mm-hmm. So we're really just listening to our community and seeing what the needs are. And once we get the men chapter going, I think that that's the natural next step to talk about, kids who are in college. Well, they're not kids, they're young adults. But when you're in college, how great would it be to have this kind of giving component? And I know that Jeff has been working on the BNI side with a lot of young professionals and even executives in the nonprofit community that would benefit so much from being able to go to BNI and be able to talk a little bit about that, because I know that the Center for Social Change and you are, at some point when things calm down, really discuss moving forward with a way for nonprofits to either come visit the chapters or have some kind of sponsored membership.
We did talk about that. In fact, your friend Daisha kind of had pointed out that some of these smaller nonprofits don't have any budget at all for marketing, and the person that's leading them doesn't even really pay themselves. They're collecting monies on behalf of a cause, and then they're donating 100% of their proceeds to that cause. And so it's something I plan to talk to Beth about when I get up to headquarters in a couple of weeks. How could we do something that would allow us to perhaps have a member sponsor a nonprofit, the payment portion of it? How do we work on venue dues? There's a lot of tricky navigational things that we have to think about. It's a much bigger issue than just, I'll write someone their membership check.
Of course, right.
With it. But I thought that Daisha's idea was innovative. I thought it was interesting. And I think that there's enough people in this community. I just sat yesterday with Juan Suarez, who is a senior executive of Gradient Data Solutions, Beth, and his favorite charity is Casa Valentina. And I didn't know that. But if you remember, Jamie, I had a dinner at my home for a starting point of 100 Men Who Care. And I won't give too many details about what's happened since. I'll just say that all 11 men that were at the table with me all signed up for Phantom Heroes. And they also want to be a part of 100 Men Who Care. And how we do that, of course, is something that we're talking about. But what was interesting is Tony with Phantom Rescue, Tony's very close to Christie House. And Christie House is very close to Casa Valentina because they have a shared mission, customer target. So, or area of the community that they serve. So I'm very encouraged by what we're doing. Beth, I think we're going to really please and surprise everyone next week. Jamie has such an incredible network.
I do. Well, it's interesting. I was on the phone with our last recipient was Project Mother Path. And when I heard that this even existed or that this was a need, and that's the thing is that I'm learning as I go. I'm in the for-profit industry. I really don't know what the needs are until they come to me. And I'm taking these calls and I'm listening. And Project Mother Path is a nonprofit that provides doula services to women who are going to give birth at hospitals and don't have anyone by their side because they've either been victims of rape or they've been widowed or they are teenage mothers. And it was a need that I didn't even think about. And you see the homeless on the street every day and you think of them and what their needs are, but you don't really sit back and realize what the needs are and what these nonprofits actually fill in our community. And something that's really exciting is that we have, Miami is truly becoming a city, I feel. I've lived in downtown Miami my whole life, but, growing up, you didn't walk 3 blocks west. Now there's, one of the largest, city center, one of the largest developments in the country is here. But our transit system and metro rail system is expanding, and there's an initiative called the Friends of the Underline. It's going to be a 25-mile green space underneath our metro rail system. So hopefully it will clean out some of the violence that happens under there. Homeless people who seek shelter there, hopefully it'll urge them to really, to go to Christy's house, to go to Camilla's house, to go to Chapman Partnership and get the help that they need. But this green space is going to be a great place for families to go to. And I approached them and they said that they were doing like a family fun day. So I literally just called, it was actually Christina Moss, and I said, can I get my nonprofits involved? Can they head the initiatives for the family fun day? Because I want them to get free marketing. And she said, of course they can. So the Motivational Edge, who they do after school programs for children in inner city schools that don't have access. They're gonna be there, and I'm also talking to a few others, so it's gonna be really great. It's exciting to get them involved.
Just this morning, Beth, I got an email. You may remember we talked a little bit about Lutheran Services Florida, because they help the homeless community here with a number of services that they can't provide. Well, one of the things they've been doing now is collecting school supplies for kids. So, that's something that a small nonprofit that does not get any federal or state funding, they get a small amount of money from one of our organizations, and that's really their primary source of giving. And so I approached Melissa and said, Melissa, we're doing Fill My Ride. We're actually helping the teachers. So if you've got a school in an area with these kids that you're serving, those teachers are as much in need as the kids are.
That's right.
Sometimes more. So I'm really pleased to see that there's good synergy coming together there as well. And I think as we expand in this further, we'll get to know our community better in terms of what organizations are supporting educational causes for kids. And it's one of the reasons why I want to get you introduced to the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce's nonprofit committee, because they're a very robust, very active committee. They bring the nonprofits together. They encourage these smaller nonprofits to get involved. They offer a discounted membership to those folks. And so there's a really neat way for us to sort of bridge across the for-profit and nonprofit space that I think, we've just begun to explore.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. I think what's unfolding on today's webinar so beautifully is such a vivid example and picture of cause networking and what cause networking is, and how, Jeff, B and I, we're at the top of the game of networking. We know how to network, right?
That we do.
I know. With the big hearts of people like you, Jamie, and the other people that you're involved with, that it's just going to be such a conflagration, it's going to just explode with love and giving and caring and support. And I think in very tangible ways. Ivan, what do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts about it now that you've heard a little bit more.
I'm listening to these particulars, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see the organization move in this direction. So I'm really pleased.
Cause networking at work, huh?
Yep, absolutely. That's a phrase that you've termed that I really like. It's beyond cause marketing. It's what we do in BNI, which is networking, and use our networking skills and experience to help put people together. That's what you did with the supply to teachers in Austin, and ended up getting $1.4 million donation from 3M to help with the school district. That's just incredibly powerful.
Yeah. And the whole idea of collective giving, I mean, it's something that I am very attracted to, the fact that I can come with a fairly large amount of money, $100, with 100 other women, and all of a sudden there's a $10,000 contribution because we're pooling resources. And I would love to maybe even kick that up a notch and see if there's are different tiers of groups, and could we start a chapter that was a little more able to do a larger amount, and watch how quickly that would multiply to, you know, $1 million gift once a year or something like that. That'd be so cool.
We've attracted actually Richard Schultz, who is the founder of Best Buy, has a family foundation. And we've been thankful enough for them. They provide a matching grant for us.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Thank you, Best Buy.
Wow.
I find this very interesting. I just have to pop in here.
Yes.
3M is Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, and Best Buy is in Minnesota, and I'm from Minnesota.
Hey.
Are we kind of getting the vibe here?
Wait, and Hayes Companies,
It's in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Do you see the connection?
And my dad's from Chicago. Yes, it's a very Midwestern thing, this whole caring thing.
Yes.
But the Schultz Family Foundation has been really gracious in providing us a matching grant for our new membership. So what that looks like is if you become a new member, they match $200 to your 100. So your 100 becomes 300. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So the thing is that it's very difficult, just for any organization, just like we're starting, is that we have some women that come, and in Miami and a lot of these bigger cities where there's just so many events and so many groups, I think that it's our recruitment levels have kind of fluctuated a little bit, but we're right on track, and they've been amazing to work with, identifying us. So it's great. It's been great.
I am very impressed with that. That's very tremendous.
They hear us. You actually, a good friend of mine who Jeff knows, Sebastian Rusk. He is a social media guru. One thing that he said to me.
Met Sebastian. Met Sebastian. Yeah, Beth met Sebastian. He's who started our B&I Buzz campaign. Beth, he came out to.
Yes.
And he was all over the conference getting buzz from all the different people.
So when I was,
I got some good news. He's going to be at our event.
Oh my goodness! Okay.
And Beth, he's shadowing you, so he's actually creating business voices buzz.
Right?
Good luck. Brace yourselves. But one thing Sebastian had said to me was interesting. About 8 years ago, when I was working for a developer, I had an executive suite center, which was really my first time running this like collaborative executive suite, and I loved it. And when Sebastian and I met, he was just starting out, and he said to me, you know, I figured if I scream loud enough, someone will eventually hear me. And I think that was probably one of the most impactful things anyone could have ever said to me. And I still carry that, you know, to this day, that whether it's my for-profit job as an insurance broker or in the nonprofit as the director of an organization, if I scream loud enough, which is why I lose my voice and I literally have throat lozenges right next to me, is that if I scream loud enough, someone will hear me. And that someone was you, Jeff Stay, and you have opened up so many doors, and I just really appreciate you. And I think that you're just a thought leader and visionary, and you give so effortlessly, and you hand over your database. I mean, you know, you didn't keep Beth to yourself. You shared Beth with me.
Aww.
Yes, I did.
And that's what it's about. And I think as an entrepreneur and other people that I've spoken to in the community about sales and influence is don't monopolize your database. Yeah. You know, if you have a client or someone that did something for you, don't be afraid to share that with someone else. I think a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, we're like, I don't want to ask that person for too much, and they already gave to me, so I don't really want to introduce them to them. But that's the wrong answer. The answer is don't monopolize your relationships, share with the world. And if that person gave to you because they truly believe in givers gain, they're going to want you to share that with other people. So I think don't monopolize your network. Give people what they want.
Well, with that, guys, I'm going to talk a moment about our upcoming webinars. Let me just get my screen situated here. And thank you we've done the open mic section. Thank you for the conversation. It's been an amazing, amazing conversation. And then I'd love to encourage everyone watching this back to come back on October 28th, noon Central. We're going to be talking to a couple of Boys and Girls Clubs of America and then BNI members and directors who've been involved with projects. What has come from those projects and what are the possibilities for ways to collaborate with Boys and Girls Clubs going forward as they're reaching right into children and education in a very powerful way that we're really impressed with. And then November's webinar topic is going to be how to sponsor a career fair, how to get your BNI chapter involved in a school's career day or career fair, or perhaps even the whole region to put on a career fair that multiple schools would bus into. There's all kinds of possibilities, and we have regions already doing this, so they're going to share the pitfalls and the successes on doing career fairs. We also have 2 school principals that have been just completely wowed by what has happened with BNI sponsoring career fairs, and they're going to share that. So, Brian, how can people find out about our webinars?
Well, we have our BNI Facebook page. I have posted, Jamie, multiple links right now, about 100 who care. You have a list of chapters there. You have the link to the main website. And so a lot of information is on our website for that. And plus, Beth, remember in November at the Global Conference, we'll be having multiple Business Voices BNI Foundation events. So for the BNI members who are attending that, look forward to upcoming list of every day, something that you can get involved in.
Right. So if you'll like our social media outlets, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, we're on Google+, LinkedIn, BNI Connect, all of this information is in all of our social centers, and you'll find the links for the upcoming webinars, of course, October 28th and November 26th. So with that, I think that our webinar, if anybody has any parting comments.
Thank you, everyone.
I would just like to...
And Dr. Ivan Meisner, I'm the biggest fan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Beth, I would just like to say that we're really excited to have you in Miami. I thought your suggestion to come down for an event was perfect. It allowed us to theme our event beyond just the Battle of the Chefs, but to put a nonprofit Business Voices initiative component behind it. The Fill My Ride campaign really made that easy for us to sort of parlay it because it's back to school anyway. And I think that once we kind of have the chance to sit down and do some real thought leadership on how we can maximize the event that we've done, I think we'll be able to create a track record and path for other executive directors and other director consultants and other regions of the country and then various parts of the world to be able to emulate this and do their own type of a Business Voices initiative where they find 100 Women Who Care partner or someone similar and really just leverage the sharing of all of our collaboration and networks. So I'm really honored to have you coming down. Thanks so much for taking the time.
I'm excited, and I totally agree with you, completely agree with you. It's going to benefit the whole world. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Beth, I'll see you next week.
Yes.
I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Travel safe, Ivan.